GCSEs and A Levels are going to be very different in 2022. Here's all you need to know. Hello everyone, and congratulations on making it through to the first half-term break of the year. From personal experience, the period after the summer holiday is often a tough one to get back into the routine of school or college, even during a normal year. So in the current scenario of how the world is still, this is even more of a challenge, so well done. Now, as we are halfway through the autumn term and only have around 7 months left before you sit your GCSE and A Levels, I thought now might be a good time to provide a detailed overview of how GCSE and A Levels will be different in 2022 and what this means for you, as the way these assessments will be completed will be very different to 2019, 2020 and 2021. So it's important you have as clear an idea now as you can in order to prepare. So firstly, the most important announcement about 2022 qualifications is that for the first time since 2019, standardised exams will be sat in the summer, running from the 16th of May until the 28th of June. Results days are also returning to their traditional slot later in August, with A-Levels results day being Thursday the 18th of August and GCSE results day being Thursday the 25th of August. Now both these dates are later than last year and signify the sort of return to normal that the Department for Education wants to achieve. Now, although exams are returning, the way they are assessed will be different to 2019, with a few changes made in specific subjects as well as advanced topic warnings, which I will go into more detail with shortly. But first, let's start off by taking a look at the changes being made for each GCSE and A-Level subject. Now, probably the biggest set of changes for the 2022 exams comes in GCSE English Literature, History, Ancient History and Geography. In these subjects, the Department for Education has decided that students should not be assessed on all topics and content, meaning that some of the topics that would usually be mandatory are only going to be optional this year. This means that as a result, students, or in most cases probably the teacher, will have to pick and choose certain topics to teach you that you will then be assessed on in exams, with the knock-on effect of this being that the exams in these subjects will be adjusted and will be slightly different to exams sat in 2019 and earlier, before teacher assessed grades were required in 2020 and 2021. Some of the science subjects have also had quite big changes compared to 2019. For GCSE sciences including biology, chemistry, physics, combined science, geology and astronomy, AS level biology, chemistry, physics and geology, AS and A level environmental science, you will still need to know all of the content on the specification. So in these subjects, there is no reduced content for your exams. What the Department for Education have done is remove the requirement for you to complete practical work yourself, meaning you can be taught by demonstration just to save time. You will still need to know and understand these practicals, as they could come up in examination, but unless your teacher decides to, you won't have to practically do them yourself. Now for the other full A-level sciences, including biology, chemistry and physics, you will still have to complete the mandatory practicals, but the Department for Education have reduced the number of practical activities that you have to complete in order to meet the Common Practical Assessment Criteria, or CPAC, and demonstrate your practical competence. So in simple terms, what this means is for A-level sciences, you will have to complete fewer practicals in order to pass the practical element of your A-levels. Still staying with science, but heading back to GCSE. For GCSE Physics and Combined Science, you will be given a revised equation sheet covering all the equations required in the subject content, and exam boards will provide you with the copies of this equation sheet for use in teaching, and so that you are familiar with it prior to the exams, with you then being given a clean copy of the sheet in your actual exams. Now, the reason that you're being provided with this is pretty much just to cut down on the amount of revision you'll need to do, as fewer equations will need to be memorised. Similarly to GCSE Physics, for GCSE Maths, you will be provided with an equation sheet for teaching, and a clean copy will be given to you for the exams, but you will be assessed on the full normal content for GCSE Maths with no reductions. The next subject being adjusted for 2022 is Art and Design. As for GCSE AS and A-Level Art and Design, you will only have to be assessed on your portfolio, nothing else, which for those of you doing these subjects, I would imagine would make quite a big difference compared to previous years at least. For 2022, there have also been a number of non-exam assessment changes, which were announced prior to the summer holiday, with these including the coursework and fieldwork in various various GCSE and A Level subjects. Some of these include GCSE, AS and A Level Geography, Geology and Environmental Science, where the usual mandatory requirement to complete fieldwork has been removed, but your school or college can still ask you to complete it, it just won't be mandatory. For GCSE English Language, teachers no longer have to submit a recording of your speaking test, but again, similar to the previous point, they can still ask you to do this, and a lot probably still will. And for GCSE Modern Foreign Languages, such as German, French or Spanish, the vocabulary required has been reduced as well. Now, if your GCSE, AS or A-level subject is not mentioned above, then your actual exam assessment will include all of the content outlined on the subject specification, so there won't have been any specific reduction to your content in these subjects, with the additional help that you will be receiving in 2022 coming primarily from the advanced topic warning, which I will go into now. So, advanced topic warning, what is it? For all GCSE, AS and A-level subjects except GCSE English Literature, History, Ancient History and Geography, exam boards will provide advanced information on the focus of the content of the exams, with this guidance being provided on the 7th of February 2022 at the very latest. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, the guidance that has been provided about the advanced topic warning is pretty vague, and the type of warning that you receive will vary depending on the subject you're taking, but depending on the subject, you'll be provided with either the content, context, texts, topics, subtopics, themes, or skills that will be assessed within your exams. Now, as I said earlier, this guidance is pretty vague and that did sound like a mouthful, but the examples provided by the JCQ are more useful, with one of the examples given being that you may be given the topics of all the higher mark questions in an exam, for example. Now, at this point, it is very important to stress that you likely won't know the guidance for each subject until they're released. But what I will say at this point is that this guidance should make your life easier overall going into the exams, in terms of making the exams themselves easier, streamlining your revision, or just reducing the amount of revision that you have to complete overall. Now, the final thing that I should bring up in terms of 2022 exams for both GCSE and A-levels is how they will be graded compared to previous years. Now, the Department for Education have confirmed that grading in 2022 will be based between 2021 and 2019, but realistically it will probably be somewhere between 2019 and 2020. Now, what this means for 2022 students like you is that fewer top grades will be given out this year than compared to 2021 last year and 2020. So overall, it will be quite a tough year in terms of grades. But what it might do is make the top grades and those who achieve the top grades stand out a little bit more compared to last year, for example. So just to summarize everything, in the most likely scenario, exams are returning in 2022 with some changes in certain subjects compared to 2019 and kinder grading compared to 2019. However, relatively compared to 2021 and 2020, grading will be harsher. With the current state of the world right now and everything that the Department for Education has said over the past couple of months, the 2022 academic year is going to be tough, especially as your GCSE and A-level years are usually tough years, let alone with the current climate and everything else going on. But it's not impossible to do well. For those of you in year 11 or 13, it's one final hard push and you'll be at the finish line with the grades that you want, which is very rewarding at the end of the day. So just to finish this video, I hope you found it useful and as informative as it could be. And if I did manage to achieve both of these goals, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to this channel, as I will be providing GCSE, A-level and other education updates throughout the coming year, which hopefully you may find interesting or at least useful to prepare you for what will be coming, which will hopefully help you to maximize your grades going forward and will mean that you'll have your stepping stone onto the next step in your life, which hopefully is very enjoyable. That's the dream, isn't it?